get it wrong and you might actually decrease the number of gigs you get and calls because your reputation precedes you. At last, you've got the call for the gig, but it's in less than a week and you've never played the material. And to make matters worse, you don't even know who's on the gig. Is this God's gift or is this a poison chalice? Hi, I'm Caleb. I've been working in the live music industry playing bass for the last 6 or 7 years. If you've been to music school, you've probably been told that Depping can be the golden ticket into new networks and new areas of the industry. But we're not often told about the high risk nature of this treasured prize. Depping can often be an all or nothing moment. It's the point where a new team gives you the green light to be hired for more work, or potentially give you the blacklist to never be called for any more work with them again. It can also come with less favorable conditions and terms, including last minute or being far away the gig itself. You might have to travel a lot further. Let me tell you a story about last weekend. So I was scheduled to Depp on a new theatre show in the West End. It's a whole new show and all new music, so there were no recordings for the show other than a rehearsal recording about 3 to 6 months prior to this. It gave an idea of the material, but so much had changed that if I had gone off that audio recording, I probably would have been worse off than just coming in to sight read the show in the first place. This was the sort of gig where it was going to largely be me familiarising myself with the score to identify some of the key corners to work through, and probably end up mostly sight reading on the day and following the conductor, the MD, in the pit for the show. Now, the charts get updated about 2-3 days before I'm supposed to be doing the show, with some more changes and structure changes within it. And to make matters worse, a day before this, I get offered a corporate gig through a sound guy that I've worked with before. Offered the price and location, that looked good to me. It actually worked out pretty well for me, but the set list was still to be confirmed. Now, this gig was happening the day after the show, so all of this is in like 2 to 3 days time. I had no idea of the musicians I'd be working with at this point, so my weekend right now could go any particular way at this point, both gigs being Depp gigs. So how did I survive the weekend? How do we know when to say no? And what helped me make a good impression and not embarrass myself? So one question I asked was, do I have enough time and resources to ensure I make a good first impression? I've dealt with embarrassing situations in the past because I spread myself too thin and ended up on the gig underprepared. Not getting gigs is one thing, but being blacklisted from a gig is a completely different story. The next thing to find out is why the gig is being depped out, if you can. It's a worthwhile question to ask. There's lots of reasons someone might actually depp out a gig. It could be family, it could be better work opportunities, or jumping on a tour that means you're away. It could be personal circumstances, or the person could just want a break. But it could also be due to downsides of the gig, like travel time, accommodation situations, or not getting on with other band members or management. So yeah, it really helps to know why the gig's being depped out, if you can, without making it weird. If you really want the new circle, and you could do with the new circle in your network, take the gig and suck up what comes to it. You can always say no to any future work or calls with that particular people or organization if it doesn't work for you. And then the third thing would be to over prepare. I don't know about you, but me personally, I hate the feeling of being underprepared on a gig, and I want to smash that gig so I actually get offered more work off the back of it. So the more time I can spend in prep, the better. This is why I've turned down a fair bit of Depp work in the past when I've actually been available for the date of the gig. It's not because I couldn't physically do the gig, but more because I didn't feel I had enough time or wasn't prepared to give all the time necessary to prep a whole new set of material necessary to perform that gig at the level I would want it to be at. This recent gig, had it not been someone I'd known, I would have turned down. But because I knew the person that booked me, I had a bit more faith that things would be run properly, and the set list isn't going to be too far out from what I would normally do. Because that's the thing, you can play with a different function band, a different corporate band, and their set list be completely different and have a load of songs that actually you're not familiar with. And that's a bad thing to find out one day before a gig. He wouldn't normally reach out last minute, but the fee was decent, so it was a win-win for both of us. I filled that bass position for him, and it was a busy weekend for me. So let me know, how do you feel about Depping? Get it right and it can really be God's gift to opening doors for you for new circles, new networks that will continue to book you and continue to get more gigs and pay into your pocket. Get it wrong and you might actually decrease the number of gigs you get and calls because your reputation precedes you. How do you handle Depping? How do you handle Depping, whether it's getting new Deps in or getting the call for Dep gigs on stuff you've not worked on before? Let me know in the comments below.